Good afternoon, Chaos. This is Kelatos, your friendly Legion's leader here. Do another roster review, this time for Thoram of Agents of Chaos. So Thoram has asked for a little bit of tips on building his heroic Sith teams, as well as some territory battle teams. So I'm going to look at those two and kind of see what kind of help I can provide, see just where it goes. But I will say this by looking at the front here. I may give you a few arena tips. See if you can't stay in the top 100 or possibly even pop down into the top 50. And for a fleet, I don't know if you have it, but the TIE Fighter does a little bit better than that. Looks like, is that Special Forces TIE Fighter or First Order TIE Fighter? First Order TIE Fighter is awesome, but I do see a lot more regular TIE Fighter, the original TIE Fighter there. So just something to consider. But let's jump on into your roster and check out what kind of teams you have for the Sith raid. So first of all, no Jedi Training Rey, but I don't know if you saw the announcement today, but Jedi Training Rey will come back in 1 week, so you got plenty of time to get her, which it looks like you have all of the required characters. R2-D2, not R2-D2, BB-8, Scavenger Rey, Finn, all 7 stars. And your Scoundrels, Veteran Smuggler Han is 6-star. Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca is 7-star. So as long as you can get your Veteran Smuggler Han to 7-star in the next 14 days, you'll be alright, which shouldn't be a problem. And then when you get that, you can go ahead and really start working your Resistance team, putting a Zeta on BB-8 for his role with the punches, and putting 2 Zetas on Jedi Training Rey. To make that group super effective, however, you will need to get Resistance Trooper up to 7 stars and really get him geared, because that's where the bulk of the damage in a Jedi Training Rey group comes from, is Resistance Trooper. The optional character in that group would be R2-D2. However, the 2 substitutions are very rare characters in Visas Mar and Hermit Yoda. So you really want to get Resistance Troopers so that your Resistance team could be super useful. Now moving from there into Phase 2, I see 2 groups that could be really effective for you. One being a slight variation on what we call the Machine Gun Leia group. This one with an Admiral Akbar lead, who you've got almost gear 12, though Admiral Akbar is not necessarily there to do damage. He is only there to provide a leadership ability so that everybody calls Princess Leia to assist, who will be your second person. Now, Princess Leia, you really want to get her up to gear 12 for this group so that she can do a ton of damage. And you want to get her crit chance high, crit damage high, and up to 200 speed. Ideally 220 or higher. So that's going to be the main bread and butter there. Because Admiral Akbar's leader rebel coordination, whenever an ally uses an ability that isn't an attack, they call a rebel ally to assist. So you want to get your group to call Princess Leia as much as possible, which is why none of the other players in this team, none of the other characters in this team are rebels, so that 50% of the time or more they're going to call Princess Leia. One of those characters is going to be General Kenobi, who you want to get up to gear 12. General Kenobi is a great character, a great tank, and he has 2 different abilities that will call a rebel to assist. So, well, maybe one ability, maybe 2. So you really want to get him up to gear 12. The 4th character in this group is going to be Grand Admiral Thrawn, because you want him to fracture Scion so that General Kenobi lives longer. Fracture Scion so he's not countering, and because there's no counters, General Kenobi lives longer. And then Grand Admiral Thrawn's second ability, or second special, Grand Admiral's Command, you're going to want to use that to recover protection for General Kenobi. Now, the fifth character in this group is a healer, and may seem like an odd choice, but for you, I think the best option is going to be Ewok Elder. Now, Ewok Elder has two specials, neither of which are attacks. One of them heals everybody and has a chance to revive somebody. So on the chance that your General Kenobi gets killed, you could, in theory, revive him with the Ewok Elder and heal him up again, and we get this whole thing going. And then the Power of the Forest is a great... this one is a guaranteed revive, so it works out really well so that you could revive somebody and possibly even revive two people. So I think Ewok Elder is going to be really good in that group for you. Now, the third group I have found is another Phase 2 group, and this is an Empire, like a full Empire group, with one exception. This group is going to be under an Emperor Palpatine lead, who you would need to Zeta his leadership. And then underneath his lead, you would have Grand Moff Tarkin and Darth Vader as your Empire damage. You would really want to gear up your Royal Guard as a tank. Now, that may seem like an odd choice, and I agree it is a little odd because he doesn't have a taunt per se. He only taunts when one of your characters is at below 50% health. So what I'd recommend is, if you're going to use Royal Guard, which you should since you don't really have any other viable Empire tanks, leave the Sith Assassin alive. Okay, leave the Sith Assassin alive, because as she stealths, she's going to hit through protection and get your guys' health dropped quickly, so that that works for you. And it's okay to have that, because under Emperor Palpatine's leader, any Empire ally, when... Ooh, I'm mistaken here. I thought it was the Sith that get the turn meter Empire that gets health. But, you know, Royal Guard is going to be a rough tank to run, but I think it could work. Just give it a try. See how it works, because your Stormtrooper and Shore Trooper are both pretty far away. And the fifth character in this group is going to be a Sith by the name of Darth Nihilus. Now, Nihilus would work wonderful. And in theory, you could have Darth Scion or the Sith Trooper in this group as well, but they're even farther away from being raid viable than Stormtrooper and Shore Trooper. So it's kind of a rough place to be in. If you find your guys are dying too quickly or they can't recover and your Royal Guard isn't taunting, you could throw in a healer instead of Grand Moff Tarkin, but that's really the best that you could do with this group. It really just needs a better tank than Royal Guard to be very effective. Now, moving on to group number 4, which is going to bring us into Phase 3, you have your Chex Mix, which yours is ready to go. With Commander Luke Skywalker lead, Han Solo, who you have Gear 12 and Zeta already, awesome. Chirrut Imwe, first Tenacity up, who you have at Gear 12, fantastic. I'm sorry, Tenacity up, not Offense up. Offense up is going to come from Pow, who should be easy for you to gear since he comes from the Cantina store. You can get shards for him real quickly. Just get him up to Gear 8, and all he needs to do is survive long enough to give Han Solo Offense up, and you're ready to go with him. The fifth member of that group is actually an Imperial Death Trooper. Now, I know that once your vets are done, you really want to farm Death Trooper. It will take a while. It's probably going to be about a month. But if you can really get your arena team up into the top 50, that'll really expedite your Death Trooper farming. Because at 1 refresh a day, you can probably get 4 or 5 shards. If you're lucky, 6. At 2 refreshes a day, you can bump that up to 10 shards a day. So if you can get 2 refreshes in the Cantina, you can have Death Trooper done probably within 3 weeks at a minimum. 4 weeks would be more likely. With only 1 refresh a day, you're probably looking at 45 to 50 days. So I'd strongly recommend trying to move your arena team up into the top 50. Try and get 150 crystals out of there, so you can get 50 crystals from your dailies, and that'll give you enough for 2 full refreshes of the Cantina energy. Because without Death Trooper, this team doesn't work very well. In Phase 4, you have some Night Sisters working. For you, your Night Sisters would be the Asajj and Old Daka, who you have Zetas on, which is a beautiful thing. And then you're going to want to have Talia, Night Sister Initiate, and then whichever Night Sister you get up to 5 stars or 7 stars with them. Ideally, you would get Mother Talzin and Night Sister Zombie. And those would be the 2 that I'd start farming from the hard nodes, and try and get them both up to 7 star, because Night Sister Initiate does not do a very good job. She just doesn't. So you really want Mother Talzin and the Night Sister Zombie to go in there to be your 5th and to replace Night Sister Initiate. And with those, that Night Sister team would be complete. Just start gearing up Talzin, really, because Zombie and Talia don't really need gear. Bernie in Legions of Chaos says Talia works well at gear 9, and Zombie, everybody knows that she does better the more she dies, so that she can really feed Asajj offense. So you just need gear here on Mother Talzin, and you're good to go. Now, aside from that, you asked about light side territory battles, which honestly, I think you're doing a fantastic job. I would be surprised if you aren't getting maximum stars and maximum waves completed in yours, because you've got some super strong light side teams here. Just make sure that you're splitting them up. Like I said, Commander Luke, R2-D2, and Han Solo, probably to go with whichever. Actually, those 3 just go with the Hoth brothers. Hoth Rebel Scout and Hoth Rebel Soldier, wherever he's at down here. Woo! You want to get him to 5 stars as quickly as possible. So yeah, those 2, just pair them with Commander Luke Skywalker, R2-D2, and Han Solo, and you'll be good to go there. You've got your Rogue One group is pretty stellar here with the Jyn Erso, Base Malbus, and Chirrut Imwe. Just throw in any 2 other Rogue One characters and you're good to go. Cassian Andor and K2SO. Yep, there you go, are your best bets. Your Phoenix is lacking a little bit. Your Hera Syndulla is nicely geared. But to really guarantee that you could do the Phoenix ones, you really want to get Sabine or Ezra Bridger up to gear 10 or gear 11. You got Chopper, so that works. Without Chopper, you can probably go without Zeb and do Sabine, Kanan, Ezra, Chopper, and Hera. That'll get you quite a bit. But those 3 teams will see you through a lot of waves in the territory battle. And then if you wanted a 5th group, you could probably do Wedge Antilles with Biggs Darklighter, Lando Calrissian, Stormtrooper Han somewhere you've got, I'm sure. Yep, there at gear 9. And then any 5th Rebel to go with them to benefit from Wedge Antilles lead. Admiral Akbar maybe. Or you can lead with Admiral Akbar and do Wedge and Biggs, Lando, and Stormtrooper Han. Whatever works for you. Your light side has plenty of options. However, your dark side is not quite as strong, which is fine. Your top is super strong, but you don't really have the support underneath them, which is pretty typical, really, of players that haven't reached the true end game, where they're just breezing through these. So first of all, look for your Imperial Troopers because they do phenomenal in the territory battles. You would need to get Veers up to 7-star, and your Shore Trooper and Storm Trooper, Death Trooper. Really, you want to work probably Shore or Storm. If you can, I'd recommend Shore Trooper, but Storm Trooper is an easy farm, so you could definitely use him. And you're going to want a General Veers lead, because without a Veers lead, or even Veers in the group, Death Troopers just really fall apart, or Death Troopers, Imperial Troopers really fall apart. So you want to get Veers up to 7-star. Now, I generally would look for 3 other teams to work in territory battles. Your Night Sisters, obviously a go-to second team. You could throw anybody in there with Asajj, Daka, Talia, and they would do well, I'm sure. Second team for you, I would recommend a Sith group. Darth Nihilus lead or Emperor Palpatine lead, whichever floats your boat, with Savage Opress Darth Maul, and Darth Sidious, or Scion if you're going to work him and build him up. The reason I don't use Darth Vader is because he's needed in an Empire group. And that Empire group is going to be either a Darth Vader or a Grand Admiral Thrawn lead, whichever works for you. So those two, and then put them in there with Royal Guard, Grand Moff Tarkin, and probably TIE Fighter Pilot will be your next option. Like I said, in the fleet arena, the TIE Fighter is super strong, so you really probably should favorite TIE Fighter Pilot anyways, because you want him to be there. Some people have really good First Order, which actually you do. You could probably use your First Order instead of the Night Sisters to start with, and just run a Phasma lead with Kylo Ren, First Order TIE Pilot, Special Forces, First Order TIE Pilot, and First Order Officer. However, you are going to want a tank for that group. So that tank will either be Kylo Ren Unmasked or First Order Stormtrooper. Kylo Ren Unmasked is a really easy farm. After Vet Han and Death Trooper, Kylo Ren Unmasked would be the next farm I'd recommend for you. So that's where your Cantina Energy is going to go. Cantina Currency going for POW and Stormtrooper. And then hard node farms. Like I said, Darth Scion, Mother Talzin, Night Sister Zombie, General Veers. Those are going to be the 4 that you really want to go for. So lots of options there for you. Heroic Sith, you're a little ways away, but that probably puts you right on par with most of Agents. Your light side territory battle is probably spot on. You're getting maximum waves. Your dark side territory battle, like I said, Imperial Troopers, your Sith, and then you have to have an Empire team. And at least one battle you're forced to use Darth Vader as a lead, but you could switch to Grand Admiral Thrawn. As far as ships, I can definitely see why you're using First Order TIE Fighter Pilot or the First Order TIE Fighter, but as you gear up your TIE Fighter Pilot, he's a better starting option than the First Order TIE Fighter. So hopefully that gives you kind of a little bit of direction, a little bit of help, and where you want to go. Oh, I totally forgot to mention your arena. Your arena, if you're gonna use that group with the CLS lead and Han Solo and Grand Admiral Thrawn, you may as well switch to a full Titans group, which switches out Baze and Chirrut for R2-D2 and Darth Nihilus. That team runs super well and has a lot of staying power. If anything, you could switch maybe General Kenobi for Darth Nihilus and run CLS, General Kenobi, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Raid Han, and R2-D2. Those would work fairly well. That is the true Titans group. You can ask Anakin in Society of Chaos. He runs that group. Kind of see where he falls in Arena, and if you want to switch to that. If not, obviously 130 is not too bad. I'm sure you can hit higher when it comes time to move up the ranks. So just keep up the good work, Thoram. You're on the right track, and you're definitely going to be an asset to agents. And so just keep up your hard work and keep on that farm, that gear grind. I know it's brutal and it seems like it's going to take forever, but you'll get there. There's lots of little things you can do here and there to get gear, such as your Cantina War currency. I'm sorry, not your Galactic War currency, and your Arena currency. Maybe switching it straight to Shard Shop and farming gear out of there. There's a lot of options for you. So go ahead and keep up the good work, and like I said, you're going to do agents proud and really lead the way there once you get these teams put together and really focus on your gearing. So with that, I just want to say good luck to you, Thoram. Good luck, agents, and have fun, chaos. This is Kalatos saying good night.